Yes, exactly. Look, everybody has their process. Mountain Dew. But I want to hit the ground running to
At this time, I would like to ask our IT professionals to start the audio tape recordings of the Real Estate Committee meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the Housing Authority of the City of Atlanta, Georgia, also known as Atlanta Housing, and to admit any members of the public who have chosen to listen to the meeting online.
The recording has started and the public have been let in.
Thank you. My name is Sharice Reyes, and I'm the General Counsel of Atlanta Housing. Before the Real Estate Committee meeting is called to order, please consider the following announcements. We welcome the members of the public who have joined us in person in the Pecan Room at the Atlanta Housing Headquarters, located at 230 John Wesley Dobbs Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia, for this Real Estate Committee meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Atlanta Housing. We also welcome the members of the public who have joined this meeting via audio conference. Please be advised that any members of the public who wish to address the Real Estate Committee during the time for public comment period must have signed up on the public speaker sign-up sheet at the front door of the meeting room prior to the time the meeting is called to order, or have sent in a comment by the time set in the notice of the meeting. A link to the meeting agenda, board resolutions, and presentation materials are available for review by the public by accessing the Atlanta Housing Board Docs link on the Atlanta Housing website at www.atlantahousing.org/notices.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Sarah Kirsch, and I serve as Chair of the Board of Commissioners Real Estate Committee. I'm calling this Real Estate Committee meeting of Atlanta Housing to order. Under Atlanta Housing's bylaws, the Real Estate Committee addresses real estate transactions and related matters involving Atlanta Housing's interests, including acquisition, rehabilitation, modernization, repositioning, revitalization, construction, ownership, financing, tax credits, and disposition of real estate. Today is Wednesday, April 15th. Happy Tax Day, and the time is 1:02 p.m. Will the General Counsel please take roll to determine a quorum?
Sarah Kirsch,
Here.
Matt Bronfman, Rosalind Elliott, Larry Stewart,
Here.
Ventina Terry.
Here.
Madam Chair, there is a quorum present.
Thank you. The agenda has been presented for the committee to review and comment. Are there any proposed changes? Hearing none, may I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
It has been moved by Commissioner Stewart and seconded by, we'll go with Commissioner Elliott. Any discussion? No discussion. I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
There were no abstentions and none opposed. Motion carries.
The minutes of the Real Estate Committee meeting held March 18, 2026 are before the committee for review and comment. Are there any proposed corrections to the minutes of this meeting?
May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the Real Estate Committee meeting held on March 18th, 2026?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Stewart and seconded by Commissioner Terry. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
I got 4 ayes with a nod. Any opposed?
Mouthful, aye.
No, there were none opposed and no abstentions. The motion carries. Ms. Reyes, have any members of the public signed up to speak or provide comments in advance of the meeting?
Madam Chair, no members of the public have signed up to speak. We did receive one comment in advance of the meeting. However, it was not germane to this committee's work. Nonetheless, we've provided that information to agency leadership who have already been in contact with that individual.
Excellent. Thank you. Feedback is a gift. We welcome it all the time, so please keep it coming. This ends the public comment portion of the meeting.
Before you is a copy of Resolution Number 2616, which seeks authorization to take all actions necessary to secure approval from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development to dispose of up to 8 acres of vacant land and enter into a long-term ground lease with Live Thrive Incorporated.
Thank you. May I have a motion to adopt Resolution Number 2616?
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Elliott and seconded by Commissioner Stewart. Ms. Sidari.
Good afternoon. So we come before you today seeking authorization to take all necessary actions to dispose of up to 8 acres to Live Thrive Inc. And the steps needed would be to submit the HUD disposition application as well as enter into a long-term ground lease. This particular action is in support of the Center for Hard to Recycle Materials. It's in development of this facility as part of a larger environmental stewardship center. It's on the Bowen Home site, and it's part of our HUD Choice Neighborhoods Implementation Grant Program. We were awarded in July 2023, and the city was our partner and co-applicant. So the creation of the CHARM is the acronym, is part of the neighborhood plan, and it's one of the critical community improvements. It's also being developed on an area of the site that's next to a parcel that has a long standing practice of being a dump for tires and trash. So this particular investment will help to kind of stabilize and bring a higher use for an area that has traditionally been a dump. So just in terms of the location, this is the context map, and it's showing the area that is going to be CHARM. And again, CHARM is part of what we're calling the Environmental Stewardship Center. And so it's one element where neighbors and people can bring hard to recycle materials, and then next to it will be an actual innovation center. It's for educational purposes. It's in MPUG. The council district is 9, and the council member is Dustin Hillis. This is another site plan, and again, it's showing CHARM in relation to everything that we are proposed to develop on our 74-acre Bowen Home site. This is an illustration of just those 2 parcels that will make up the Environmental Stewardship Center. And so in the bottom corner is where the CHARM, the Center for Hard to Recycle Materials, is going to be. And then the upper right hand is the actual facility that's the educational portion of the Environmental Stewardship Center. And so again, we come before you today. Our reasons is to dispose of this particular parcel to help create the Center for Hard to Recycle Materials, the CHARM facility, and it's part of a larger investment in the Environmental Stewardship Center. And this is gonna use a parcel that traditionally was used as a dump of large items such as tires and trash, and it'll be a buffer along our transformation activities at the Bowen site. And they'll also provide some workforce training for individuals that are going to be engaged as part of our Bowen Homes effort. So again, we're seeking your authorization to take all actions necessary to dispose of this up to 8-acre site to Live Thrive Inc. And the steps we have to take are to submit the HUD disposition application as well as enter into a long-term ground lease that will not exceed a term of 75 years. And so, Madam Chair, that concludes my presentation.
Any questions from fellow commissioners?
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about what the CHARM facility will look like? It sounds like a recycling center, right? And so, and the picture in my mind of recycling centers is not pleasant. And so could you talk a little bit about what we should expect it to actually look like?
It's gonna have a exterior drive, and it has these 2 stations. So the architectural design is not like somewhere that, you know, would look like a garbage dump. It actually has architectural presence, and these 2 stations that people will actually turn into, unload, and then leave out. I have a shot of an example. Can I share that after this meeting so you can have a better?
Thank you. That would be very helpful.
Yeah, we did a lot of community engagement because there was concern that it was going to look like a garbage dump, but it really doesn't. And it has landscaping, so yeah, I have an illustration that I can share.
maybe just for everyone's shared understanding, what happens at the end of 75 years of the ground lease?
The land, it expires, and for all
And it
intents and
reverts back to Atlanta
yeah,
Housing.
the ownership of any improvements will revert.
I think
to
the
us.
word disposition sometimes always throws people, right? Like, so just sort of for shared understanding, wanted to make sure that was understood. All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. Hearing no further discussion, I will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Before you is a copy of Resolution Number 2617, which seeks authorization to take all actions necessary to enter into a Haven Home Flex Assistance Payment Agreement Commitment for Waterworks Apartments.
All right. May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2617?
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Stewart and seconded by Commissioner Terry. Welcome back.
So, as mentioned, we're seeking authorization to enter into a Haven Home Flex Assistance Payments Agreement Commitment for Waterworks, with Waterworks PSH as the owner, and the term of the commitment will not exceed 15 years. And so this particular development is part of the city's larger effort and activities around creating opportunities for the homeless and to address homelessness in the city. And so we are happy to be a partner in this effort. The property is a 100-unit permanent supportive housing community that was developed in 2025. It's located at 653 Green Street in Northwest Atlanta. The owner is Waterworks PSH LLC, and the property owner will be TI Asset Management. There's no existing home flex agreement for the property because it's a new development, and the supportive service provider will be Fulton County Behavioral Health. Let me say it again, Fulton County Behavioral Health. This is a shot of the Waterworks Apartments property. I will say that this is one of the first modular constructed developments in the city of Atlanta. This is just a context map that shows you its location. It's in MPUD. The council district is 9, and the council member is Dustin Hillis. In terms of affordability concentration, in 1 mile radius, there are approximately 62 housing choice voucher tenants or participants. The unit mix at Waterworks Apartment, again, it's 100 total units, all are permanent supportive housing, and we're offering home flex on 30 units. All of them are studios. All 100 units are studios. And then again, 30 will be assisted by us through our Home Flex program. The actual approximate subsidy for those 30 on an annual basis is the $385,560. And then for a period of 15 years, the AH investment in subsidy is approximately $7,170,997. So our reasons for bringing this for your authorization is it's part of a larger effort that we undertook in establishing an MOA to support permanent supportive housing units. And this particular development is part of the city's larger effort to create opportunities for the homeless. Just to date, under our MOA for permanent supportive housing, we set a goal of supporting 650 units, and to date, we have supported 601 of the 650 unit goal. And so again, we're seeking your authorization to enter into this Haven Home Flex Assistance Payment Agreement Commitment for Waterworks Apartment. And Madam Chair, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. What questions do commissioners have?
Question, oh, sorry, only quick question is, so if I'm doing the math on that, so if we've already approved 601, if we approve what we have today, that'll take us up to 631, so we have approximately 20 more that we would need to, in terms of remaining commitment to this commitment that was made on the MOU?
Yeah, we have very few, yes.
Okay. And so is that a cap, or is that just, was that hey, this is a target, we could go exceed, or are we just saying this is what we have funded, our ability to fund?
So we are looking at other resources to be able to continue to provide support for the Rapid Housing Initiative.
And so just to clarify, the 650 is
It's
per
private-
the budget that is available to us, and exceeding that, I'm inferring from your comment, would mean identifying additional resources. Is that a fair characterization?
Yeah, if I could. So when the mayor made the commitment to do the rapid rehousing initiative, initially the commitment was what the commitment or ask rather was for AH to support 500 units. Keep in mind we still have an existing relationship with Partners for Home, providing additional voucher support through their permanent supportive housing efforts as well. And so we had to look at a couple of things. We had to look at one. And this did not necessarily include the need, but we had to look at what was the voucher capacity for Atlanta Housing to be able to support the initiative in full. Since the original time frame, it graduated from 500 units to 650 units. What has been beneficial for Atlanta Housing in most cases is we're looking to be able to apply our Faircloth authority to be able to work with the mayor and the partners on this initiative. The reason being, and you may recall in CFO's, in Abdel's report last month, he shared sort of what our voucher capacity was and the fact that we're very close to being priced out of availability of vouchers. And the additional opportunity we have as an authority to create affordable housing is through the Restore Rebuild, or again, formerly the Faircloth Authority. And so, you're up against a couple of things, right? You're up against what is our current capacity as well as our current wait list, and then what vouchers do we have available and where can we pull them from?
That's very helpful. Couple of moving parts, it sounds like. Yeah. Okay.
I have learned that is Atlanta Housing.
And then it's up and operational, the facility is, and do we know anything about how things are going, or I think it opened in December?
Yeah, I can get more information about.
Not critical, just sort of
Okay.
curious if we understand, how occupied they are or anything like that.
Yeah, it is my understanding. The property, of course, did open in December. It was the grand opening was attended by our chief operating officer. I'm not sure their occupancy rates, but I do know it is performing. And I believe on next week they will receive an award from the Atlanta Business Chronicle doing the real estate award event that they're hosting.
It looks great. I was over there over the weekend, and it's a really innovative project. All right. Anyone else have questions or comments? All right. Hearing no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Before you is a copy of Resolution Number 2618, which seeks authorization to extend the Home Flex Assistance Payments Agreement for Veranda at Auburn Point 2 and 3.
All right. May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2618?
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Terry and seconded by Commissioner Stewart. Ms. Sadari.
So we're coming before you this afternoon, again, seeking authorization to extend the Home Flex Assistance Payments Agreement with Grady Senior Partnership 2 LP and Grady Senior Partnership 3 LP for veranda at Auburn Point 2 and veranda at Auburn Point 3 for a term not to exceed 20 years. So just a little bit of information about these two properties. Veranda at Auburn Point 2 is a 98-unit property for seniors at 62 and older. And Veranda at Auburn Point 3 is a 102-unit property for seniors at 62 and older. They are part of the larger redevelopment of Grady Homes, and they represent phases 4 and 6 and 7. The location is at 55 Hilliard Street and 315 Tanner Street. The owner is Veranda at Auburn Point 2. For Veranda at Auburn Point 2 is Grady Senior Partnership 2 LP, and Veranda at Auburn Point 3 is Grady Senior Partnership 3 LP, and the property manager is Integral Property Management LLC. The existing home flex agreements are due to expire in June 7th for Phase 2 and then July 12th for Phase 3. And existing ground leases will expire December 31st of 2067. This is a shot of the Phase 2, so Veranda at Auburn Point Phase 2. This gives you the location of the property. It's in MPUM. The council district is 5, and the council member is Liliana Bakhtahari. In terms of affordability concentration, there is a series of properties that exist within a mile of the site. The total number of AH-assisted units is 1,178, and then the total number of units is 1,465. Again, both of the properties are designated for seniors age 62 and older. The total unit count for Veranda at Auburn Point 2 is 98, and all of them are designated for seniors under 60% of the area median income. The same is true for Veranda at Auburn Point 3. I'm gonna bring my colleague Robin up just to run through the property performance for you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Just would like to go through the property performance results for both phases. We'll do them separately. For Veranda at Auburn Point 2, the property is operating fairly well, has NOI of about just under $300,000, operating expenses of about $8.3 thousand per unit. They have a passing home flex inspection score. Business process review was unacceptable. However, all the deficiencies have been cured, and that business process review has been closed out. And then MTW benchmarks, they're achieving the benchmarks with the exception of occupancy and emergency work orders. Here, just talking about the items that are, to speak about the items that are not currently meeting benchmarks, starting with the business process review. The property received a campus review. As Maya mentioned, this is a part of the revitalization of the former Grady home site. So Veranda at Auburn Point is a site designated for senior that consists of 3 phases. The first phase is not up for, the agreement is not expiring, so we're not seeking authorization at this time. But so in saying that, Veranda at Auburn Point 1, 2, and 3 receive a campus business process review, meaning that files are selected from each phase of the property. And so as a result of that campus review, the results were unacceptable. Throughout, there were, missing information, rent rolls and subsidy rent rolls not tying to one another, calculations of income not being completed correctly, and then documentation on reasonable accommodations not being properly included in the files. Again, all of those items have been cured and corrected for amongst all the phases. and the closeout has been issued. In regards to the MTW benchmark report and the occupancy, the requirement here is 98%. They did not meet that benchmark due to going through waitlist procedures and having challenges finding qualified tenants to occupy units. So that just comes into a time challenge there because they have to pull people from the wait list, make sure that they're qualified before they actually move them in. So sometimes they have to go through a number of residents. In terms of emergency work orders, there were some issues with reporting here. The property management company has since migrated to a new reporting system. And so we have seen improvement in the emergency work orders reporting, and just emphasizing reporting here because the emergency work orders were being cured as required within 24 hours, but just due to deficiencies within their system, they were unable to report that those deficiencies have been cured. So this has been mitigated by the management company migrating to a new system. Veranda at Auburn Point 3 mirrors mostly the performance of Veranda at Auburn Point 2. They have good net operating income, operating expenses per unit of about 8.7. They have a passing home flex inspection score, business process review, and MTW benchmark. Those results mirror what was reflected for Veranda at Auburn Point 2. So I will turn it back over to you.
So our reason for requesting authorization is to support the continued availability of these affordable units at Veranda at Auburn Point 2 and Veranda at Auburn Point 3. It provides affordable units in the amount of 200 for another 15-year term. The subsidy investment for Veranda at Auburn Point 2 is projected at approximately $13,900,000, a little over that for a 10-year period. And the subsidy investment for Veranda at Auburn Point 3 is projected to be about $14.5 million over a 10-year period. And so again, we're seeking your authorization to extend the existing Home Flex assistance payment agreements with Grady Senior Partnership 2 LP and Grady Senior Partnership 3 LP for Veranda at Auburn Point 2 and Veranda at Auburn Point 3 for a term not to exceed 20 years. And so, Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions from members of the committee? I have one question and then one comment if anyone has others they want to think on. Just on the previous slide, the subsidy is shown for a 10-year period, but the commitment is for 20. Is there a reason for showing two different reasons?
We use a template, so generally we're kind of showing our subsidy investment for a 10-year period, but I can definitely give an update to show what it would be for a 20-year period.
That's fine. I mean, we can, I guess, generally
just
double
double?
it. Yeah. But I didn't know if there was something about the commitment that it came in phases or something like that. So, no.
It's just kind of our practice of giving
Okay.
that investment level to the board. We can definitely make sure it mirrors the term. Like if it's a 15-year term versus a 20, we can easily do that
Yeah.
projection.
Okay. Then my only other comment is that, I don't think these properties are unique in what's come before us in the unacceptable business process review. That seems to be very challenging for a lot of these properties. And I don't say that to criticize. I say that I do think in general in Atlanta, we've had a lot of challenges with property management. And hiring has been hard, and retaining, and all of that. And it just strikes me, and maybe this is something for our strategy planning session, is this is a place where I think data could be really helpful in us being able to see common challenges and really highlight people who are making it work and doing good work and then figuring out what they're doing, right? Just because this is not unique here, and y'all may have a sense of it or y'all may really know, but I think it'd be helpful for us to have some kind of visibility into that over time of, you know, where the rock stars are and where the, you know, common managers who have more challenges are.
Absolutely, I definitely agree. I know we're planning to dig a little deeper into some of the issues that are facing our residents through the Resident Engagement Committee. But as we think through, and we literally just spoke about this morning in our leadership team meeting, as we think through the next iteration of who we are as an agency, we need to be an agency that's technology driven and using data really to not just make decisions, but quite honestly, make our jobs easier and be able to make a better platform in serving our families. So 100% agree, and I look forward to the conversation during our retreat.
All right. Hearing no further questions or comments, I will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. In my assessment, I think all of these would be appropriate for consent agenda, but do you want to see the rendering at the board meeting and keep that one off, or?
I think that one might have more questions, so it might be nice to spend a little,
to spend a little time on it. Okay.
Yeah.
And let me. All right. Please be advised that the Board of Commissioners, at the September 22nd, 2021 meeting, we adopted and approved a consent agenda protocol. The committee will now address the resolutions presented today for consideration for the consent agenda. Is it the desire of the committee to place resolution numbers 2617, 26, and 2618 on the consent agenda of the April 25th, 2026 regularly scheduled board meeting? If so, may I have a motion?
Well, so can I ask a question? So I thought you were asking, Madam here, the rendering, do we need to do the whole presentation, or do we want to just do prior to that part, like do the consent agenda, but it's, hey, we talked about this in real estate committee. We'd like to see the renderings of what this looks like.
I don't know that
Do
I
you
necessarily
need the whole presentation, or do you want?
just the rendering. So
Just
I don't know the best way to do that. So we
Yeah.
might be able to do it on consent agenda. Maybe if I get a
And then
chance to see it,
and
it
one
doesn't matter at all.
And one presentation. I'm just saying, there's a part of the kind of start to the presentation would be to maybe show it and then keep it moving. Just
Yeah,
wondering.
as a point of order, we can make changes to the presentation, and because it doesn't impact the resolution, we can still put the resolution on the consent agenda.
All right, so let me amend the request. Is the desire of the committee to place resolution numbers 2616, 2617, and 2618 on the consent agenda with the footnote that there will be a brief presentation on architectural rendering of the April 25th, 2026 regularly scheduled board meeting. If so, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Stewart and seconded by Commissioner Terry. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of placing resolution numbers 2616, 2617, and 2618 on the consent agenda, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right, Ms. Adari, are you making a presentation today?
So I want to give just a monthly update on real estate activities. And so I'm going to start just with the overall pipeline of transactions that we were trying to complete by June 30th of 2026. And so since the last meeting, I wanted to just take you through some of the development transactions that have been delayed. The first is Layla Valley. So Layla Valley is a disposition, and we got HUD approval in January, on January 2nd of 2026. Since that time, we went through the process. we submitted documents to the HUD field office, and that's a practice because we have to get a partial release of the existing declaration of trust. And the HUD local field office is experiencing a little bit of a delay in being able to approve and execute that document just because of personnel shortage. And so I just wanted to make you aware that it has taken a little longer than it typically does just to get the DOT release so that we can record the new ground lease that we agreed to.
So for clarification, it's on track but red. So are you anticipating it'll be behind or is it behind?
Layla Valley is behind. We originally contemplated closing that transaction within weeks of getting the HUD disposition approval in January, except that we haven't been able to get the signed partial release of the declaration of trust from the local office because they do have a little bit of staffing shortage when it comes to the HUD OGC approval.
It's on track. It should be behind, but
Oh,
yellow.
yes, forgive
That's what my
me,
question
yes.
was. I'm so sorry. I think I said it wrong.
It should be behind. The next one that I wanted to highlight is our Mechanicsville homeownership transaction. So this particular transaction, we submitted the HUD disposition application and received feedback from HUD where they really want us to have a few different business terms than what was proposed. Typically, we try to support the creation of affordable homeownership units as well as homeownership developments by bifurcating when we get paid for the land. And that helps the home builder really move forward and create the units, and then we get repaid some of what we're owed once the home is sold. Unfortunately, HUD has taken a different position, and they really want to make sure we receive all of the sales proceeds at closing when the land is conveyed. And so we're working through that with the developer right now. The next one is just the cupola building. This particular property is historic. And so the developer is working to try to come up with plans that meet the SHPO. And so it is tracking behind, as well as they're creating all of those units as market rate rental units. So they have to figure out a financing structure that will enable that to happen. The next one I want to highlight is Inglewood Phase 1C. And Inglewood Phase 1C is, again, a home ownership development. So, again, we think that it is going to experience a little bit of delay based on the new guidance that we got from HUD on requiring payment of the land sales price at closing. And then lastly is Townsend Scholars Landing. They lost their construction lender, and they're still trying to go through to figure out whether they can reduce the construction cost in some manner or find a new lender. So just some key activities that we've completed since the last real estate committee meeting. Atlanta Housing in March successfully closed 10 down payment assistance loans for affordable buyers, and that represented an Atlanta Housing investment of $225,000, and we leveraged $2.5 million in mortgage financing. Again, I just mentioned Layla Valley, and kind of we got the HUD approval, but we're trying to get a release of the document needed so that we could actually record the new documents against the site. We've also been successful in completing some key HUD submissions to support our real estate closings. So we did the HUD mixed finance proposal for Asbury Point on March 19th and 5 Peachtree on April 2nd. And then the disposition application for Inglewood 1C is slated to go in today. And then the next thing that we're targeting to submit is the HUD evidentiary packet for Bowen Phase 2. And our target date to submit is tomorrow, but we're hoping that we can get it across the line this afternoon. So I wanted to just give information about solicitation that was released on March 30th, and it's for our Inglewood Manor Phase 2 site. And I just wanted to make you aware, this shows the parcels for Inglewood Phase 2 are in the blue kind of dashed area. It's 2A, 2B, and 2C. The 1A and 1B developments are currently under construction, and the senior building is slated to come online this year. So again, I just wanted to share information about our solicitation to get a development partner for Inglewood Phase 2. We also are inviting respondents to propose a home ownership component, and so we did an addendum yesterday just encouraging people to take a look at that if that's an idea and to come in with that as part of their plan. So I wanted to spend just a little time on the construction status update. So our construction has really ramped up since we have been closing more transactions in the last few years. And our construction team is led by Alvin Harper. He has a team of 4 construction project managers, and they've really done an outstanding job as our workload has increased. And so I wanted to highlight a few that, just to make you aware of them, that are currently experiencing a little bit of delay. And so the Proctor has been having some financing delays. So right now that one is completely off track. And Sylvan Hills had problems with some of the excavation, so the construction was slightly delayed. And then as of March 31st, Heritage Village was on track. They are getting an extension so that they can complete now in May. And that's just information that I got live that they really are going to push out another month. So this represents approximately 3,000 affordable units, and the total investment for these projects accounts for about $1.1 billion. So this, in terms of being under construction, is major investment. And then when we look at our pipeline, that's over $500,000. And so, Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you. When you look at those completion dates, the number of deliveries in 26 is pretty remarkable. And then it looks like it'll be even exceeding that in 27. That's amazing. Congratulations. That's a lot of work. What other questions or comments from members of the committee? All right. If you have not already, please make sure to wish Commissioner Elliott a happy birthday.
Yeah, that's right.
I will not sing because that would be sad for all of us. But we're always grateful for you, and happy birthday from your fellow commissioners, which was yesterday, not today, by the way.
Right.
Any other comments? There's no further business of this committee. This real estate meeting is adjourned, with time adjourned of 1:44 p.m.